They came to me long before they knew their son was ever involved. His name was even swept up in this whole case. They had no idea. No idea. They thought that their son was in very little trouble.
King Keon's attorney, Shaka Johnson, has found himself at the center of online outrage, with many questioning how he can defend such a grim and intricate case while maintaining that there's more to the story than meets the eye. Yet, as uncomfortable as it makes the public, the foundation of the justice system rests on the idea that every person, no matter how serious the accusations, deserves proper representation. When confronted on camera about whether he'd withdraw from the case, Johnson's response was a firm no, a stance that only intensified demands for him to reveal what he supposedly knows about others involved. But those calls overlook a key truth. An attorney's duty is to protect their client's legal rights, not to appease social media. In this clash between law and public opinion, Johnson's refusal underscores a tension as old as justice itself, between the pursuit of fairness and the court of public perception. The case surrounding King Keon and the tragic death of Kada Scott has become increasingly grim as new details surface and public outrage intensifies. Despite the mounting evidence, including footage that appears to show multiple accomplices, the question everyone's asking is, how deep does this go? According to official court filings, Keon faces an alarming list of charges: murder, kidnapping, false imprisonment, stalking, arson, conspiracy, evidence tampering, and more. Surveillance video paints a chilling sequence of events, first showing him casually stepping out of a stolen black car, and then, just a night later, returning to the same area in a gold-colored vehicle, this time with another person. Together, they're seen struggling with what appeared to be a heavy object, placing it precisely where Kada's remains were later discovered. Meanwhile, a third individual, believed to be the driver, stayed in the vehicle throughout the incident. Now, investigators and the public alike are demanding clarity. Who is the second person helping Keon that night, and has that individual been identified or charged? Is the driver cooperating, or could they soon face accessory charges? And perhaps most haunting of all, did these people know what they were moving, or were they unaware participants in a horrifying crime? To understand how it all began, we have to return to October 4th, the last day Kada Scott was seen alive. That morning, she left for her job at a nearby nursing home, but clocked out before her shift ended. When she failed to show up the next day, her family immediately reported her missing. Loved ones later told police that she'd recently confided about someone harassing her through constant phone calls. A co-worker even recalled seeing Kada visibly upset during a conversation, hearing her say, "I can't believe you're calling me about this," before walking toward a dark car in the parking lot. Investigators would later reveal that the man on the other end of that line was Keon King, who called her at least a dozen times that day. Records show the two had been in close contact, suggesting their meeting that night wasn't random, but planned, a decision that would ultimately cost Kada her life. On the night of October 4th, around 10 p.m., a co-worker saw Kada Scott outside her workplace, visibly distressed and on the phone, arguing with someone. She reportedly said, "I can't believe you're calling me about this." Just minutes earlier, at 10:07 p.m., she had sent a chilling text to Keon King's number that read, "Kidnap me again," followed by a final message, CM, which investigators later confirmed meant "call me." By 10:15 p.m., cell phone records placed both Kada's and King's phones together near her workplace, and in the narrow window of just 9 minutes, between 10:15 p.m. and 10:24 p.m., Kada was fatally harmed. Following her disappearance, police quickly sought public assistance in locating King's vehicle, a 1999 metallic gold Toyota Camry with Pennsylvania plate MSX0797, which they believed Kada may have been inside. Later that day, tips led authorities first to an elementary school, where they recovered valuable evidence, and then to King's vehicle in an apartment lot. Cell phone tracking suggested that King was traveling with Kada's phone that evening before it went offline. Investigators also interviewed 2 women who lived with King, and a search of their residence reportedly uncovered ammunition, contractor bags, and gloves. Tragically, Kada's body was ultimately discovered in a shallow grave behind an abandoned school near the Auberry Arboretum in Germantown. Police explained that this discovery came after receiving a more detailed tip, which directed them precisely where to search. Earlier, the initial search at the school had yielded personal items believed to belong to Kada, including a cell phone case, an iPad case, glasses, and a card with her name. But it wasn't until the more specific tip arrived days later that authorities were able to locate the grave. In a statement, police confirmed the recovery of human remains believed to be Kada Scott's, describing the moment as heartbreaking and expressing their condolences to her family and loved ones during this devastating time. The Philadelphia Police Department has reiterated its commitment to unraveling every detail of this case and ensuring justice is delivered. Investigators revealed that Keon King's phone repeatedly pinged between the parking lot and an address at 5500 Belmar Terrace in southwest Philadelphia. Cell phone and surveillance data paint a chilling timeline. At 11:39 p.m. on October 5th, a gold Toyota Camry pulled into a parking lot. Two individuals stepped out while a third, the driver, stayed behind and eventually drove off. Those two remained for hours, and at 3:56 a.m. on October 6, they approached a black Hyundai, lifted a heavy object, consistent with a human body, and carried it to a wooded area behind an abandoned school, digging a shallow grave to conceal it. The following day, October 7th, authorities discovered that the black Hyundai Accent had been intentionally set on fire, an apparent effort to destroy forensic evidence. Court records confirmed that Keon King was not acting alone. Surveillance footage captured him working with at least one accomplice, while a driver stayed in the car. Yet, despite this, little has been reported about the identities or arrests of these individuals, which has fueled public frustration and questions about why attorneys and officials aren't addressing them. Meanwhile, King's defense attorney, Shaka Johnson, has become a lightning rod for backlash. Since the case details and court documents emerged, social media users have slammed him for defending a client many consider a monster, questioning how a lawyer can review surveillance footage, text messages, and a detailed timeline of events, yet still advocate for innocence. Johnson himself admitted that in his 20-year career, he has never faced this level of public criticism, highlighting just how high-profile and emotionally charged this case has become.
You remember when I went and got Maurice Hill from that police barricade standoff for 8 hours? This is what I do. This is what I do.
And how long have you been doing this?
Almost 20 years.
So is this the first time then that you've seen? Because there's a...
Shaka Johnson has made it unequivocally clear that he will not be stepping away from King Keon's defense, despite the wave of public outrage and mounting pressure on social media. He has deliberately chosen to remain tight-lipped outside the courtroom, explaining that his silence is strategic. He wants every piece of evidence, every witness account, and every detail of the case to play out fully in court before making any public statements. Johnson has suggested that the courtroom proceedings are where the truth will emerge and, potentially, where the identities of the other individuals involved in the case might finally be revealed. For now, however, the public is left with fragments of information and a growing curiosity that has fueled speculation and theories online. One of the most talked about theories centers on a woman named Gabby. Rumors suggest that a friend of hers allegedly knew about Kada Scott's death before it was reported publicly, which immediately raised eyebrows. People have questioned how anyone could have known such sensitive information in advance unless they had inside knowledge, and Gabby's name quickly became entangled in the conversation. Since then, Gabby has come under intense scrutiny, with some online observers interpreting her actions and statements throughout the case as suspicious. Every call, text, or social media post she's made has been dissected and analyzed, often without context, which has only amplified the speculation. Adding to the intrigue is Gabby's own background. Reports indicate that she has a criminal history that, in some ways, mirrors aspects of King's own legal issues. While this fact alone doesn't imply involvement, it has caused many to draw connections and weave narratives about her possible role in the broader situation. Observers have noted that Gabby has publicly explained why she did not contact law enforcement, citing cultural norms from where she grew up. In her community, speaking to the police is not standard practice. She has also described her interactions with King as limited and mundane, emphasizing that their conversations were brief and centered around general knowledge rather than personal involvement in any wrongdoing. Despite her explanations, the combination of her prior record, her connection to King, and the timing of her knowledge about Kada's fate has kept her at the center of public speculation. The discussion surrounding Gabby highlights the intense curiosity and frustration many feel about this case. People want answers, they want accountability, and they want the identities of all individuals involved to be revealed. Until the court proceedings provide clarity, the public's theories and suspicions are likely to continue swirling, creating a cloud of tension around both King and those connected to him. A few days into the investigation, a friend recalls discussing the situation over the phone. The friend suggested calling the police to report that Keon had inquired about Kada, but at the time, there seemed little point. Keon had already turned himself in, and the friend, raised to avoid involving law enforcement unless absolutely necessary, didn't feel compelled to report it. Gabby has stated that she didn't know Kada personally, only Kada's younger sister, who had been her friend as a child before they drifted apart around the age of 11 or 12. By her own account, she and Kada had exchanged perhaps 6 words in their lives and were essentially just neighbors. Gabby also explained that she and Keon had been friends prior to these events and that she had no knowledge of his prior behavior. Before Kada went missing, Keon had called Gabby to ask if she knew Kada, noting that she lived nearby. Gabby confirmed she knew of Kada, but not personally. She described the call as brief and ordinary, just 29 seconds, since Keon often reached out to talk about girls. And because Keon was already in custody, Gabby felt there was little to report to law enforcement. The call between Gabby and Keon was fleeting, just about 30 seconds, during which he simply asked if she knew Kada. Gabby has explained that in her community, speaking to the police wasn't common practice. It was just how she was raised. Still, speculation about her involvement has been swirling online, fueled by the fact that she reportedly has a criminal record similar to Keon's and is currently facing her own legal matters. Meanwhile, curiosity hasn't stopped at Gabby. Some have raised eyebrows about Kada's brother, who is reportedly seen leaving the nursing home around the same time others were trying to enter. According to accounts, he allegedly brandished a weapon to push people back, a detail that has sparked wild theories about potential involvement. While it seems unlikely he had any role in the crime, the scenario has left the public buzzing with questions. Amid all this, the debate continues over King's attorney, Shaka Johnson, and the intense backlash he's received for defending a case so dark. Combined with the mystery surrounding the accomplices, whose identities remain unconfirmed, it's no wonder the story has captivated and divided the public. The conversation is far from over, and people are eager for answers.